records the whole time.
Cool. Okay. And then I'll press record on here, and you can start at any time because we can always edit
All right, we're good.
this out. Go.
All right, Full Throttle Nation. So we've been in quarantine now, coming into our third week, and David and I thought that it would be a good idea that we finally reach out and try to make it a little more like a group, which is what we're used to. And this will be the first of hopefully many podcasts, but we thought that we should start from the beginning. And this is going to be called the Full Throttle Endurance Lifestyle Podcast. And I need to get a couple things clear right away. These are our opinions. We do have sponsors, and they're going to have their own opinions, so we take full responsibility for things that we say or things that we believe.
True.
And I think it's important to note that it's not going to be a podcast just about physical fitness. It's going to be a podcast about life. And we're going to start by the introduction of David and I and who we are and how Full Throttle started. This is David. And it basically is an All-American gladiator and an All-American world athlete. And that's what you're going to get. And I really hope that, you guys each, when you're asked to come on board, to talk with us about a topic, whatever that topic is, and we're going to talk about you, but I think it's a way that we can all learn about each other and really be even a tighter team when we get back. So this is your first podcast, Full Throttle Endurance Lifestyle.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So Full Throttle Endurance started back in 90, let's call it 2003 was the launch. But we got really, really lucky in that races were really individual at that point. And Bill Kelly and a couple other guys all came together. And in the beginning, there was probably just 8 of us. And we went out and we started racing. And it was a very, very quick trajectory. And we were lucky in that we had really good athletes right out of the gate. And we went out and raced at all the local races. And very quickly, people wanted to know who Full Throttle Endurance was and how they could be a part of it.
How many races were around at that point, and would we recognize any of the local races now that you were racing when it first started?
Yeah, the local races were the iconic races like the Mighty Montauk, Mighty Hamptons. These are 2 of the longest running races probably in the country, not just the Northeast. The races that you're familiar with, like the New York City Tri and the South Beach Tri, those races really weren't apart until, I would say, early 2000s. Maybe South Beach was a 2007 start. New York City probably was a 03 start. Bill Kelly is one of those guys that he would have all those facts, and he will be one of our first guests with Sam Martini, who is insane in his own mind and right.
And one of the original.
And one of Bill is one of the originals. Sam came in later. But I think the one thing that's great about this group is that everybody brings something different to the table. And I think that's a critical component of a dysfunctional family that functions at an incredibly high level.
Very true.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have them still with us racing all around the world.
Yeah.
Like for me to have Bill at Worlds yelling at me as a coach was awesome.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. So we will try to reach out to each person individually and slate you for your own time, and you can tell us as much or as little, but it's going to be free-flowing. I'm not going to control the conversation, and I have to put a disclaimer out that I'm an equal opportunity offender. I find nothing to be sacred. I will make fun of everything, including me, and I think that what we'll do in this first podcast is maybe we'll shave my head so that, I think we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're under quarantine right now, and we're going to be bored to shit. So.
Well, I've already begun to shave my head, but that's why the hat's on, because it didn't.
You know what? I think that's what we'll do to start, guys.
Take off the hat.
Let's see what David's. Let's see what David's looks like.
Okay. Well, the sides look nice, but the top just needs.
Wow.
It just needs to be even on both sides.
That's awful.
But it's not awful.
No.
Once Elmer's glue comes into the equation and it actually sticks up, it's going to be fine.
So basically, you're doing a FOMO.
It's aerodynamic.
It's a foam.
They've tested it in the wind tunnel.
It's a foam. All right, so we'll fix that for sure.
We'll fix this.
And we're going to fix mine. We're going to take mine down to a number 2 and just buzz it all off. And then sometime in the next 6 to 8 weeks, when we get back together as a team, my hair will be back to normal, and so will his.
We'll have real haircuts.
Yeah, but in the interim, we're going to figure out what we're doing here. Okay? So let's get back on point, and let's talk about how this actually... let's talk about how David came a part of this.
Oh,
okay?
wow.
We can go back to me in the beginning, but I'll tell you guys an interesting story. So the first coach that ever was brought in was a guy named Holden Camo, who eventually went pro, and I guess he's doing great down in Philly. And then each person from that point on has always been an athlete. I don't know if you guys know that, but they've always been an athlete first. They've gotten to learn how we train and race together as a unit, and then they became a part of it. Andrew Cali was one of the first original coaches. Ray Camano, also athlete, then became coach. And then David Martin, the first and only exception to the rule, came to me through a resume, and I don't take resumes. You have to be an athlete first. And was the most tenacious, never give up spirit I've ever seen, saying, just let's get together, let's do this, let's do that. And I couldn't say no anymore. I said, let's see what you got. And you remember that at Stanford, Chelsea Pierce?
Now, when you say they usually have to be an athlete first, you're saying an athlete on the team.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't an athlete at all.
Right.
I just wasn't an athlete on
the
full
team.
throttle.
Right.
Right.
And so we've been lucky enough to really groom all our coaches as athletes first. And it's been obviously a winning success story for who we are as a team and a coaching staff. And David turned out to be just beyond exceptional as a coach. And
sweet.
Yeah. And athlete. And it ended up being something that was really great for the Connecticut unit as a athlete base.
True.
Really took over everything that we were doing in Connecticut, which was fantastic in the New Milford area, right?
And pretty much all over Connecticut now.
Yeah.
New Haven, upstate New York, near Yukon now with Jack.
Yeah.
So that's been fun.
And so before you got into coaching and racing with Full Throttle, basically you were racing as an individual.
I was. Yeah. So I started back in 2012 with a couple small races. The one at Lake Warmog that Amanda Braverman was racing or running at the time. I think it was called Endurance Multisports. And then Hopkins was going on at that time, so I raced Hopkins. But it was more for fun. And then I met up with one coach, and he coached me for a year. And that's when I did New York City Tribe in 2015. But then...
What place did you get then?
I think it was 5th in my division.
That's
and
great.
that was after a night of partying at a friend's wedding. So I partied...
We don't know anything about
Yes.
that.
Oh.
No, we don't. That's not what we do.
Partied till midnight, went to bed, got up at 4, did the race, and did okay. But then moved to New York City to work at La Palestra, and then was finding out that our ideals or ways of working were just too different. Wanted to find...
With La Palestra.
With La Palestra,
Right.
Yes. So wanted to find another opportunity, and then that's when I saw your posting, looking for a coach.
So from that point on, you now are a coach and an athlete, and your focus is on what part of your racing?
Ooh, I would like to think that my focus is more on sports science. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but
No, that you've always been a good runner,
True.
And you've been a good biker, but have become an exceptional biker. I remember when you started, I was certainly stronger, faster. I am certainly no longer stronger, faster, and your swim, the improvements that you've made are just unbelievable.
it has gotten much better.
Yeah.
Meeting up with John Fetchick, he's a registered pro, and he lives right outside of New Haven. And meeting up with him and changing the swim stroke. He's been going out to California working with a swim mechanic and a couple other coaches out in Arizona. So working with him has been awesome. But now since the pools are closed.
Right.
And he just got over that horrific bike accident where he went over his mountain bike handlebars and he had the bell on his mountain bike handlebars and it hit his femoral artery, cut him open. He was in the hospital for a couple weeks.
That is so
That was,
random.
he said if the bell wasn't there, it wouldn't have happened. It was because of that small bell on the mountain bike.
And this is why we don't have bells on our bikes.
Don't put a bell on your bike.
No, we don't.
No,
Even though it's a law, we don't do that.
don't do it.
No.
So, yeah, I would agree with you. I would say biking is obviously my favorite and my strong point, and always a strong runner just from growing up playing soccer and playing sports all through school. But I never swam, played hockey in the wintertime, never got into a pool and swam competitively, so that's been certainly a point where I've been trying to improve.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's happened. And that comes from hard work. And that, I think that's what everyone needs to know when they come on board and they try this sport. This sport is certainly the most humbling sport there is. You may be good at one, you may be good at two, you're never good at all three. If you are, you're a pro, and then you're not a part of us anyways. And I think it's really important to understand that everybody starts at ground zero. You know, their zero may be different across the board, but you will make huge improvements in all three categories as long as you're willing to work.
If you put the work and the time in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, like yourself, one of the biggest issues is that people are afraid to start swimming with a bunch of people that maybe had been collegiate swimmers. But the truth of the matter is that the majority of people are going to have their weakness be the swim.
Yeah, well, I think that's a great point. Even for a lot of the people in Connecticut who had never swam.
Yeah.
Like take Ryan Hall. He went to the World Championships for Spartan and then wanted to get involved in this. So swimming together even with you, he was able to visually see what the swim stroke should look like. And if he had been doing that 1 to 2 years on his own without having any visual, then he wouldn't be where he is now.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a testament to a team type setting. And I think that's probably what we're all missing right now, right? I mean,
Totally.
you're trying to do these individual workouts, these challenges that come up on Instagram every 4 seconds. I may have seen one of the most ridiculous ones I've ever seen the other day. I'm not even going to go into what it was so stupid. But I think that the difference between what Full Throttle Endurance has done as a team and other teams is that we train together. You know, most teams put the workout up on the board and that's the workout and you get it done when you can, or you get it done with 1 or 2 other people. I think that when you really start to see that this team comes together, especially in the New York facility, you know, you've replicated a very similar but different version on Lake Warmog,
Right.
with that group, especially when the summer months come in.
Yeah.
The New York crew could have 40, 50 people in a 6-lane pool. Or on Ray's Speedwork Tuesday, you have both the long course and the short course group come together and you have 50, 60 people running these intervals. And that really is what makes the Full Throttle Endurance team different than other teams. And, you know, a lot of people will say in the beginning, and I'm sure some of you listening said this, I don't want to be a part of that because it's too intense. They're too good, you know.
Or it's not individualized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think that's just such a misnomer because we have pure beginners to literally the best All-Americans in the country, and that's 100% factoid. The difference is that we really take the time to make sure that all the groups are broken into their own speed,
Right.
so that it's always safety first, whether it be the swim, bike, or run. And we're making sure that all of the athletes know that they're part of this, right? And in that situation, all these athletes training and racing together, something like this happens, which is the first time any of us experienced it, there's this disconnect.
True.
Yeah.
And people start to miss everything more than you thought you did.
Yeah. And so the alarm going off at 4:30 in the morning or 3:45 for me, this is a whole new world, and you won't miss that so bad when it starts all over again, right? I mean, it's important to understand that 9 a.m. is the new 3:45, right? Or 3:45 is what it used to be, and 9 a.m. is now. It's crazy. We're having to kill 16 hours a day.
It is interesting how you used to wake up at a 6:45, but now the new normal is 7:45, 8, because you can.
Because you can.
But it is kind of nice in some ways to
Wow.
get that extra hour or two of sleep.
So I used to average about 6 hours of sleep. That's about my norm. And 6 hours of sleep for me was all I needed, and everything felt right.
Doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah, I get it, but that was my norm, right? I go to bed at between 9 and 10 and get up at 3:45, and that's the math, right? So now I get up at 10 and I go to bed between 10 and 11. It's the most sleep I've ever gotten in my life.
And how's your knee feeling now?
My knee feels good, but ironically, from not swimming, my upper body is always sore.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's
Okay.
being worked, right?
Well, I would think that maybe just because you were having issues with your knee, now you're getting more sleep. Maybe
Yeah.
you're feeling better or healed in some way.
I do feel good. I do feel good, and I also think that we're super lucky being out here in that we're consistently out in the fresh air and the trails, and I'm
True.
not running on a track or pavement. It's nice and soft.
Yeah. No, we're spoiled with the trails and with the outdoor living here. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, guys, we want to be able to field questions from you, and we're not going to do it today, but I want you guys to start to think about questions as you see this unfold as a podcast, an interactive podcast where you guys will send an email, and I'll read who it is that's asking the question, and we'll do it. I don't know that we'll have the capabilities for call-in. That may be out of the realm, but
I think it's something we can try
yeah.
and play with. But I think it would be cool. I mean, we even talked about this with my strengths. I feel like our sports sciences, since I'm going to school for my master's and now PhD, so if you have questions that regard nutrition, hydration, training, volume, intensity, I mean, those are all things that I like talking about. Diet. I remember when I went over the keto diet at one point and posted something, Maddie, Richie, everybody reached out and wanted to know more about keto diet because Triathlon Terran was doing keto, no carb. I know that was something Connor Bollinger was doing for a bit. And everybody wanted to know the science on whether that really helped with endurance performance. So if you have questions on diet, intensity, all those sports sciences, I think that's something I would have fun geeking out about.
Did it help?
In a couple studies, it showed positive correlation. In a lot of them, it did not.
Yeah.
Did not. So I would say if you are not fat adapted and you haven't been doing it a long time, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No. Carbs are good, and alcohol is good, and a healthy lifestyle
You're right.
is about
Moderation.
or not. No, but I think that
Not right now.
I think it's important to make sure that nobody forgets one thing, and this was said by a great friend of mine, and I think he's right. I'm not going to name him, but I think he's right. At the end of the day, no matter who we are, we're all not that good, right? And David is an All-American, All-World athlete. There are athletes that are All-American every single year. But in the big picture, the pros are a whole nother level. So you really need to remember that you're doing this for fun, as a hobby, and for the social aspect, which with all the team titles and all the accolades and all the All-Americans and the great coaching staff and everything that we've put together that makes up the Full Throttle Nation, I hang my hat most of all on the social aspect, the ability to talk and have fun and drink beers together and then show up on a race site and just decimate the field and have fun. But the moment you lose sight that really is why we created this team, then you've lost sight of the whole thing because it has to be fun. If it becomes a second job, you've already lost what it was intended to do.
Right.
It's our job, Ray's, Andrew's, anyone that's a part of the coaching staff, to make the workouts hard and get us to the goal we want, right? And to perform at a high level. But for you guys, it's to always have fun. And in the minute you stop having fun, we're not doing our job, and we've lost sight of the big picture.
I totally agree. I mean, that's why I would come into New York City and train with you so often when I was living in Connecticut, because it was so fun to get into the pool and chase those athletes in front of me.
Yeah.
You know, and then to high five at the end of the lane was so fun. And I think to your point in terms of us being light years away from pros, I think it's about humility, right?
Yeah.
Humility is the word. Being humble and knowing that you're a solid athlete, but at the end of the day, we're here together to have fun and be a group. And when you start thinking, I want to take it to the next level, I think I need more individualized coaching, and you leave that group, is that really fun?
Right.
You know, because you're not with the people that push you, laugh with you, and make this a fun experience. Now you're just in your own little pain cave by yourself, aiming for what?
Exactly.
Aiming to make it a profession and make money off of it, or aiming to...
Well, there is no such thing, right? There's no such thing anymore. Pros aren't making any money,
No.
and they're certainly not having as much fun as we do as a group.
That's true.
Yeah, and
That's
I think that to your point, is this team is also built to race. You know, I know that there's a lot of teams out there that don't race nearly as much as us. I mean, I'm a 53-year-old man, and I raced 10 times last year.
You're old.
I'm old. I am old, and I raced 10 times last year. And I think that this team is built to race, and that's why we have these races that we make up when we don't have races that are either charity relays like the Trial by Fire relay, or the individual Trial by Fire, which would have happened literally 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago yesterday would have happened. And the idea that we didn't get a chance to do that, it really was, it was almost more of a letdown than having to cancel one or the first couple of races of the season, because I think that race really, by definition, Trial by Fire, it really blends, makes that team one, because everybody's going through that same amount of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's also tenacity, and it's also the talk leading up to the race too,
Yeah.
which is fun.
Yeah.
And you get more nervous for that race than you do for other races.
Right.
Because you're going against your teammates, so it's
Right.
trying to not prove yourself, but show them, I've been working hard.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I think that is 100% true, and I've said this many times. And if you are training with me 5 days a week, I'm sure you are prepared and you are coached to race on the outside. But the truth of the matter is that on this team, and any age group, there is no easy age group, and I assure you that is true. Any 5 guys in any one of the age groups, or females, and I say guys as just a broad stroke, are the best of the best in their age groups at any race. So when you are racing your friends of your same age group inside the team, those are the best guys you're going to face when you're out on the race course.
Right.
And it's pretty insane. I mean, your age group alone is nuts.
So competitive.
So competitive. My age group on our team is Bill Kelly, who's always the leader. John Profaci, Ewan, myself, Ray Camano, Risto. It is the who's who of the 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right. It's nuts.
Risto the mountain goat.
Yeah. Who is maybe heavier than me, but can outclimb almost anyone half his size.
I know.
Yes.
On his steel tri-bike,
Yeah.
going up the hills of Italy.
So I hope that you guys got a good sense of what this is going to be about. I will definitely go into a little more about how Full Throttle was started and where it came from and how we put it together. But I wanted this to be a little more informal as we try to just figure these things out, as well as the background may change a little bit as we get going. We may be doing it remote. We're going to talk to all of our sponsors. And again, our opinions are our own. And I think that's incredibly important as we start really letting it open up and starting to talk to athletes about whatever, right? Whatever. And I mean, it'll run the gamut. I don't want it to be just about health and fitness. It's about life. It'll be about art. It'll be about finance. It'll be about whatever your specialties are for your job description in the world. Because I think that it can become so pigeonholed and so narrow if you only know the people in your swim lane or you only know the people in your run group. And it makes me crazy when I say someone's name and someone else on the team says, I don't know who you're talking about. And that makes no sense to me. And the point of this group was to grow it as big as we can, but it's also to make sure that it's still a family,
Right.
and that everybody knows everybody by first name, and that they have the ability to get together on the weekends and train together and really just help each other.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the ability to reach out and talk to anyone on the team about our lifestyle, what we're doing, our jobs, and knowing who they are.
Yeah.
And what they do allows us to connect in that special way as well.
I agree. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. I think that we'll finish today, if you stuck with us this long, by entertaining you. So David can go get the shears, and I'm going to buzz my head for you. On
Do
episode
I
one.
get only number 2?
Well, I'd like to see what it is first. Can we go like just first on
And see
on a 3
and
and
see what it looks
3
like?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, let's do
Okay.
that.
All right, let's go.
All right, so David's going to go do that, and I'm going to try to talk him into fixing his FOMO because it's awful.
Oh.
It's awful. So I know a lot of people care about these kinds of things. Okay, I don't, and I think that it is it's important to understand that these are troubling times, and for a lot of us, very stressful times. And Danielle entertained us, and really on a day that I needed it, was trying to do a headstand and filmed it for us and then put it up on Instagram for all of us to enjoy. And her knee went through the wall. And on that day, I was having such a rough day, and I just couldn't believe that happened. So I hope that this allows someone to get a smile as David goes, "Bah!"
Did she actually put a hole through the wall?
Yes.
No.
Her knee went through the wall, and I actually spoke to her yesterday, and she did her Amazon order and ordered the patch kit. You may need an extension cord now.
I don't have an extension cord, so we're just gonna have to switch you
All right,
around.
we're switching around.
We're doing a little switcheroo.
We're gonna switcheroo, but the issue may be the lighting. But let's see what we got.
I don't think you're gonna want good lighting once I take off the side of your hair.
Oh, that's the point, my friend. That is the point. All right, here we go. So this is what is this? A 3?
This is a 2. Come on, we gotta go
do-
big or go home.
Do we have a 3? Can we
I
see what a 3 looks like?
I can go to 3.
Let's just see what a 3 looks like.
All right. Wait, that actually is 3. That's 3.
Is that what your side is? A 3?
This is 3.
Is yours a 3 on the side?
Yeah. So you want to go a little longer than that?
Let's see a 4.
All right, let's go 4.
Let's go 4.
All right, this is number 4.
All right. So here we go.
I feel like this is where I want to start first. I want to go right here.
Let it rip.
It's really a number 1. See, that's good, but this is. Oh. All right, hang on, I got a chunk of hair.
Oh God.
It's when you hear that. That's when you know it's coming off.
Oh, that is just.
That's when you
long.
know it's coming off. And we're just uncovering all the grays. Wow.
All right, let's give everybody one, and then that they'll really love. All right, guys, you ready? This is for my Full Throttle Nation. Right through the middle, David.
Stop it.
Let her rip.
Really?
Let her rip.
No way.
I told you it's coming off.
All right.
There we
Okay.
go. Ready, guys?
Wow.
No coming back.
Oh.
Oh, I think it's stuck. Do we see that?
It stuck a little bit.
All right, let's do it again.
Let's just go. I think that's what I need to do. You realize you're going to be on camera tomorrow.
I am. With a perfect.
I think we should. I think
Number
we should
two.
just do it like that. Just keep it. Wow! Oh my God! Right here. I'm going. Maybe I should take up a new profession.
I don't know about that.
No. Man, I can't believe how long your hair was.
So long.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what we look like, guys.
Oh my God.
So maybe I should just leave it like this. What do
You
think?
got a canyon.
I should leave it like this. I will go one more, and then we'll shut it off, and then we'll get it done, and we'll come back.
What do you mean we're going one more? We're just going one more time through?
Yeah, let it go deep so they can see it, and then we'll cut out, and we'll be back tomorrow. And I think that our guest tomorrow.
Oh, it's really cutting well now.
Good.
Look, I think I had it angled the wrong way. Wow.
All right, guys, let's take a look.
Oh my God.
All right.
You're gonna leave it like that.
So we're gonna finish this, but we'll be back tomorrow, and we promise that we're either gonna have Bill and Sam on together, or we're gonna get Marcelo from Brazil, depending on the time zone. All right?
It's like a taco.
It's like a taco. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See ya.